The first thing that I will consider is obviously looks. What do I want my border to look like? Do I want it to be simple and clean? Do I want it to be decorative? Do I want it to be over the top decorative? Do I want it to be visible from the side or from above? Do I want it to stick out towards the inside of the basket, given an inner frame? Do I want it to stick out towards the outside? Obviously, this is the first thing you'll consider. The second thing I will consider is handle or handles. Am I going to have is this basket going to have handles? Because if it does, then you should really think about what kind of border you are making, and is it going to get along with the handle? Because if the border is going to create a very thick or very wide rim on the top, then it's going to be very difficult to make a handle. The next thing I will think about, and this is something that I find that I have to think about a lot, because I'm working with fairly short local materials that I can find here in Israel, is length of the stakes. Many times I will not have enough length for whatever border I wish to make, and I have to kind of check out, take down the uprights to the right to see how far they go, and see what border I can actually make. Because if I want to make a rod border 5 and I don't have enough length for it, then it doesn't matter. I have to see how much length I have left, and it's very simple to kind of measure. You know, if I wanna have a 5 rod border, then I know I have to go behind 2. If it's assuming that it's a behind 2 rod border 5, I have to go behind 2 and then 5 uprights more to the right. That makes 7. And of course I would like to have, you know, a decent leftover length after that. The next thing I will think about is distances between the stakes. And this is important for several reasons. And first of all, when I said earlier length of the stakes, it's really, what it really means is length in relation to gaps between the uprights, because 40 centimeters of stakes left can have completely different meanings, whether I have 5 centimeters gaps between the uprights or 1.5 centimeters gaps. You understand? So that would be the first thing. And another thing is that if I've made a basket and I got to the top and I've created, you might say, too big of a gaps between the uprights at the top, then I would like to kind of fill those gaps up with the type of border that I make in, because because otherwise I'm afraid that the basket is going to be wobbly and not very secure, not very strong. So I would think about a border that is perhaps tripled or tucked in. If you've seen my previous videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. I will look for a way to kind of fill those big gaps between the uprights to get a more secure structure. And if I had if I created a basket that's really closing and the uprights are very close together at the top, then I would like to also think about that. Something that will be easier for me to kind of work around these small gaps. one thing to consider is how many you're going behind. If I'm going to create a behind one rod border, or plate border that goes behind one, then it's going to be more difficult to handle than if I were to go behind two or behind three. Also to be considered is thickness of uprights, because once again we've talked about distances between uprights, and it's really, once again, it's distances in relation to thickness, because if I have smaller distances but very thin uprights, then it could be really fine. But if I have very thick uprights on the same small distances, then it's really different. It makes a lot of difference. And this is something to consider. And also, if the uprights are very thin, then I might want to think about whether it's going to be strong enough and how to use more material to make it stronger. Perhaps I'll make a plate border of 4 or 5, something that includes a lot of material into the border, and really kind of makes a firm and secure border. Because when the uprights are very thin, then they're probably not very strong, and you want your rim to be strong and secure. And this is really the next the next thing to consider: strength of the basket. I mean, is the basket strong enough on its own? Maybe it's weak and wobbly, and you have this opportunity at the finishing to really make the rim nice and firm, to secure the whole structure. What's the functionality of the basket? Is it a decorative basket, like perhaps this one here, that really you might say the border has no meaning here in terms of strength, because all it does is it stands on a shelf being beautiful. But if I want it to be a carrying basket, then the rim has to be strong and secure. For me, I will also think about the type of material that I'm working with and what can it do really, because I might want to do a specific type of border, but the material I'm working with is really not suitable for that. And if you're working with willow, then it's not really a problem for you. But if you're working with a variety of local materials like I do, then most of them can't kink, and many of them are really not nearly as flexible as willow, and I have to think about it, and I have to think about what the material can do. And last thing I will consider is doing something new. I really love making borders, and I really love trying new things, learning new things. Have I tried a 7-rod border? Have I tried an 8, 9, 10-rod border? Have I tried this and that? Have I tried that combination? Have I tried it like that? Try new things, learn new things. And to me, I really love making borders. Borders are like a prize for me after laboring hard on a basket. And this is also something that I will consider, doing something new.